Hello dear students, welcome to the another video tutorial of mammalian histology. In that we are proceeding towards the third point in the third chapter, that is the histological structure of the various organs, and we are proceeding towards the histological structure of the tongue and its anatomy and its special features of the tongue. Okay, so let's start with the tongue. The tongue is the highly muscular organ and composed of the mainly striated type of the muscles. Okay, and the muscle fibers are arranged in the longitudinal, transverse, and the ventral directions. Okay, so we will see the muscle how the muscle arrangements are in the next sessions. Okay, but we are today focusing on the anatomical structure of the tongue, and it's situated around the how that particular organ location, okay, and its specific functions, okay, and the specificity of that particular organ is. Okay, so the world is riddled with the numerous stimuli, okay, and that living organism interact with every day. Okay, but each individual is able to perceive the process and integrate these stimuli with the aid that is general and specialized sensory receptors, okay, through the body. Okay, that having tongue is having the sensory receptors. Okay, and the tongue is the unique organ that located in the oral cavity that not only facilitate the perceptions of the gustatory stimulus, that how the taste is, but also plays important role in the mastication, that is nothing but the churning of the food. Okay, and deglutition, that dialogue is having into the two personnel, that is the mode main the deglutations, and additionally that surprisingly, okay, with the additional feature of the tongue is the integral component of the speech pathways. Okay, how we are going to speech the vocal sound, the velocity, okay, and that tongue is going to evaluate those components, okay, and going to having a part into the component of the speech pathways. Okay, so let's start with the tongue. As the case with all anatomy, it is the important to the understand the terminology associated with the describing the structures of our interest, that will be the tongue. Okay, so the prefix gloss, that means and the suffix glosses are commonly used with the references to the tongue. Okay, and therefore the name glossopharyngus, okay, and that glossopharynges are refers to the muscle arising from the tongue and um, inserting into the pharynx. Okay, so similarly the name hypoglossus, that hyoglossus speaks of the muscles originating at the hydroid bone. Okay, so and interesting in the tongue. Okay, so another important point to the note that the tongue is embryologically divided into an anterior and the posterior part. Okay, so as you can see, the location of the tongue is highlighted in the green color, that is the nothing but the specialized organ tongue. Okay, and rather the supporting environment to the buccal cavity that are also going to support the neurals, its neural scheme of the tongue, as well as the salivary glands. As you can see, the three type of the salivary glands, as you can see, the sublingual, parotid, and the submandibular. Okay, so As you can see, the muscle environment around the our buccal cavity, okay, that are going to performing a specialized role to move jaw as well as the moving with the motions of the tongue as well as, okay. So let's see one by one the features that are going to that the going to support on these terminologies, okay. So the prefix gloss and suffix glosses are commonly used with the references with the tongue, as I said that the that name hyoglossus speaks of the muscle originating at the hydroid bone, okay, and that hyoid bone um, and inserting in the tongue, okay. So another important point to note is the tongue is embryologically divided into an anterior and the posterior part. So let's see, we will see at the anterior part what are the specifications of the tongue, as well as the at the posterior part what are the specifications of this tongue organ, okay. So the key fact about the tongue, that the highlighted points, the embryology of the tongue, that the tongue development starts with the day 23rd of the embryo, okay. So the part of the tongues are the tip, that will be the apex, second part will be the body, and third part will be the base, okay. Tip is apex only. So the surfaces, that are two surfaces, dorsal and ventral surfaces, that is superior and inferior surface, okay. So relations, that are anterior and lateral teeth, okay, that relations, that means having with the uh, tongue having the relations with the other organs or the other parts of the buccal cavity, okay. So by the side, anterior and the lateral side, they are having the relations with the teeth, okay. The superior part having the hard and soft plates, okay. That inferior part, the having relation with the mucosa of the floor of the oral cavity, that is sublingual salivary glands and posterior wall of the oropharynx, okay. Then posterior part of the that tongue having the relations with the epiglottis and the pharyngeal inlets, okay. Then lateral part of that particular organ with the, that will be the palatoglossal and the palatopharyngeal arches, okay. So muscles associated within the tongue, that are we are going to see in the next session, that will be the intrinsic muscles, that are the superior longitudinal muscles, and vertical transverse as well as the inferior longitudinal muscles, okay. And at the extrinsic part of the tongue, the muscles associated with the extrinsic part will be the gynoglossus, that will be the hypoglossus, steoglossus, palatoglossus, and the these all are the muscles, okay. So the blood supply by these organ, that are carried by means of the lingual arteries, okay, that will be the dorsal lingual arteries, that sublingual arteries, okay, deep lingual arteries, okay, and ascending parts, that will be the ascending palatile, that will be the tonsillar blood supply, that are meant by the uh, sublingual arteries, okay. And that ascending pharyngeal arteries are going to support are going to provide the blood supply to the uh, palate as well as the tonsils, okay. So the lymphatic systems are going to invade into the these particular in co-part with these organ, okay. That the marginal central dorsal submandibular as well as the junglo-armoloids are seen, okay. Then the deep cervical lymph nodes are also seen, okay. Then innervations, that are the um, hypoglossal nerve, pharyngeal plexus, okay. Then lingual nerves, then glossopharyngeal nerves, then facial nerves, then vagus nerves, as well as the um, corta tympani also seen in the inversions. Okay, that at the time with the mucosa, that will be stratified squamous keratinized and non-keratinized epithelia are also seen, that will be as performing their functions towards the dorsal side with the stratified squamous keratinized as well as the non-keratinized cells with the ventral surfaces. Okay, and lingual papillae with the having with the papillae forming with the filiform papillae, that will be the fusiform papillae, foliate papillae, or the circumvallate papillae. Okay, these are the some parts that papillae having the going to get some main functions. Okay, the test birds, the types of the test birds are seen, that are um, made up of the stratified squamous epitheliums, as we have seen in the when we have conducted the sessions for these tissues. Okay, and the stratified squamous epitheliums are going to form the test buds on the tongues. That structures are the gustatory cells, that will be the supportive cells and basal stem cells at the taste pose. Okay, and they are going to sense the taste of that particular particular substance what we are consuming. Okay, so the anterior part of the tongue is also called the oral or the precusal part of the tongue. Okay, and conversely, the posterior part of the tongue is inferred to as the pharyngeal or the um postucal part of the tongue. Okay, and that lastly avoid the interchanging the woods root and base when the discuss and then discussing the tongue. Okay, as these represent two anatomically distinct areas. Okay, so the base of the tongue refers to the postucal part, that will be the post part of that form the ventral wall of the oropharynx. Okay, and while the root of the tongue, okay, that we will going to see the in our textbook, there is in two part the tongue is divided, that will be body of tongue as well as the root of tongue. Okay, but here the root and the base, that when we are discussing the tongue, that as these represents two anatomical distinct areas as well as the structures. Okay, but while the root of the tongue refers to a part of a precosal tongue. Okay, and that will be the pre-circle tongue that attached to the floor of the oral cavity. Okay, we will see what is the part of that in the. So let's start with the and we are going to stop here, and in next session we will start with the anatomy of the tongue. Okay, so and we will finish with the this part in the next session only. So stay tuned and we will stop here. Thank you.